This is a News 2 breaking news alert.
He's like the bestest friend I could ever have. I mean, I wish I could just say goodbye to him before he got shot.
Now on News 2 at 5, a community mourns a deputy and Marine murdered while on duty. And now the search for the man accused of pulling the trigger continues. Good evening, everyone. This breaking news alert we've been following around the clock since yesterday morning.
Tonight, the search continues for Stephen Wiggins. The TBI released these pictures this morning. They were taken of Wiggins just a few days before he's accused of shooting and killing Sergeant Daniel Baker. Law enforcement from agencies across Tennessee are searching for Wiggins south of Dixon and across Middle Tennessee as well, as police have received over 130 tips. News 2's Andy Cordan is live in Dixon tonight. And Andy, you talked to deputies in Williamson County today.
Yeah, I've been with the Williamson County crew in fact, they're right behind me here. They've gone out some 5 times already, and the reason they're here is because the terrain is harsh. It's a lot of places that you can hide, and in fact, I went back to one of those places today that just 24 hours ago was the scene of an intense search as they looked for an alleged cop killer. What a different scene 24 hours makes. This place was surrounded by armed officers. You look in here, Hector, show folks at home, this is what they were looking at. But if you look inside, look how dark it is. Places to hide, and you don't know. What if there's a man in there with a gun? These guys are coming up to this window, brave officers, looking in windows like this, looking under places like this where somebody could be hiding. This is what's going on out here. We are now at the zone where yesterday you had 10 guys here, you had 2 canines. They were searching this building. They didn't know if they were going to get shot. They didn't know if there was a bad guy inside. But this is what they were doing to try to find this alleged cop killer. This is the kind of environment that you are seeing that a bad guy could hide in. Tall bushes, lots of trees, lots of logs, and then you see stuff like this where you could crawl around, hide in the bushes, get under the building. You don't know what's behind every door. And there it is in a nutshell. That's why you have all these guys. They're going out there. They're literally putting their lives on the line to keep you folks safe. And that's why these guys are here now, giving them aerial support, because this is a guy that's already allegedly killed an officer, and he's got weapons, as we've been told, and there's no telling what he might do. Coming up tonight at 6, we'll get back on board with these guys and show you how expansive the search zone is and how rugged the terrain is, and we'll show you that from up above. But for now, we're live in Dixon. Let's send it back to you guys.
Thank you, Andy. It is a difficult search. We have more team coverage tonight. News 2's Kim Wynn and Eric Egan are both at the Search Command Post in Dixon County. But first, News 2's Jessica Jaglois is live along Main Street in Dixon.
And Jessica, you were there when the community paid respect to Sergeant Daniel Baker as he was brought to the funeral home. And it was a very emotional tribute.
No, a very, very emotional tribute, and really just such an honorable one. Law enforcement from across Middle Tennessee helped escort the hearse carrying Sergeant Daniel Baker right along here, along Main Street in downtown Dixon, to the Taylor Funeral Home, which is just around the corner. That is where his family and friends will be able to pay their respects. But first, Dixon County residents came downtown to pay their respects as well. As the procession passed through downtown Dixon, many held their hands or hats over their hearts. And we actually spotted one little boy, you saw him at the top of the show, who held a salute as Sergeant Baker passed. We spoke with him, and he said his dad knew Sergeant Baker, and they used to hunt, fish, and trap all together.
He's like the bestest friend I could ever have. He helped me. He was a strong man, and he was good to his community. And I wish he could just see me one more time, and I wish I could just say goodbye to him before he got shot in action.
It was obviously very difficult to hear that. He says his dad served in the military with Sergeant Baker. Meanwhile, not far from here, people are checking their outbuildings. They are checking their properties for Steve Wiggins. I'm putting that together for News 2 at 6. Reporting live, I'm Jessica Jaglois, News 2.
The poised little boy.
Yes, very well spoken. So sad to hear that. Thank you, Jess. And News 2's Eric Egan is also following this search. He's live at the Search Command Post in Dixon County. Eric.
Hi, guys. I want to talk about the investigation. About half an hour or so ago, a press conference just completed. There's now a $35,000 reward listed for the capture and arrest of Stephen Wiggins. A lot of that money is coming from law enforcement agencies out of state, a chunk of it also coming from Governor Bill Haslam. Erica Castro Miles. She was taken into custody yesterday and charged with first-degree murder also in this last night. Police tell us she was there when Deputy Baker was when Deputy Baker was shot and killed. So I asked the TBI earlier today if she's been beneficial in this investigation. At the moment, they would not tell me. They couldn't give me any of that information. And finally here, hundreds of leads have come in. No confirmed sightings, but hundreds of leads from across the country. And what I mean by that is investigators said they've had to check other states just to make sure that Stephen Wiggins hasn't gotten away from this 3 to 5 mile radius that much of this search effort is covering. Now, to continue with that, folks here, investigators here, they're also asking for the public. They're asking for help. They're asking for tips because no lead, no tip is insignificant. Here's them talking about that just a short time ago. Let's listen.
No lead is insignificant. We have dozens of agents, intelligence analysts, and law enforcement officials following up on each and every lead that comes in. I implore anyone who may have information as to Wiggins' whereabouts to contact us immediately at 1-800-TBI-FIND.
Now, apologies there. I took the words out of his mouth, but it is so important. And for you folks at home, that's why we post these several images on our Twitter accounts, on our Facebook pages. It's repeatedly why we share all that information with you, because the person sitting at home right now, guys, might have the key to capturing Stephen Wiggins. His appearance has changed in many of the pictures we've shared, so we want to consistently get those photos out there, get those images out there, whatever it takes to bring this to a peaceful end. Guys, we're reporting out in Dickson County. Eric Egan, back to you.
Thank you, Eric. Good point. You never know which tip will be the important one. News 2's Kim Wynn is looking into Stephen Wiggins' background. She's live in Dixon where crews are searching. And Kim, the sheriff had some strong words today about Wiggins.
Yeah, Haley, that's right. Stephen Wiggins has a very, very long rap sheet. He was well known to law enforcement in Williamson and Dickson counties. Now, his record goes back to 2006. He was arrested at least 8 times for assault and domestic assault. He's also been arrested for violating probation, possession of a weapon by a felon, resisting arrest, driving on a revoked license, theft, and vandalism, just a number of crimes throughout the years. Now, during a press conference, the sheriff also mentioned that the suspect may have been on drugs, possibly on meth. Here's what the sheriff had to say.
The effects of drugs and what it's doing to people and robbing them of their life and of their soul, and where they have no value of human life, and where someone would murder a deputy sheriff, it is an issue, and it's national. And there's a lot of driving factors if you'll study it and you'll do your homework on it as to how we've gotten to this point. But anybody that is under the influence of drugs, especially meth, are going to be unpredictable, and they're going to do irrational things. And that's why we consider any case that, if you have that information and that involves that, any case that has that is unpredictable, and we consider that a threat.
And because, like you just heard the sheriff say, because the suspect may be on drugs, that's just another reason why they are urging the public that if you do see Wiggins, do not approach him, just call 911. In Dickson County, Kim Wynn, News 2.
Thank you, Kim. News 2 will continue to follow this story as police search for Stephen Wiggins. Police say if you see him, be careful. Do not approach him. He should be considered armed and dangerous. Call 1-800-TBI-FIND if you have a tip, or 911 if you see him. And we are in weather alert mode tonight as thunderstorms move through Middle Tennessee, and these storms are already causing some damage.
Yeah, you're looking at a picture of a tree that fell on Peyton Road in Lebanon. Thankfully, no reports of injuries. Danielle's watching the system for us tonight. Danielle?
That's right, Bob and Haley. And as you look right now, I want to show you what's going on. We do have in Muhlenberg County now a severe thunderstorm warning until 5:30. This just got issued for wind gusts in excess of 60 miles an hour, hail 1.25 inches in diameter, and it is moving to the east east at about 30 miles an hour. Also watching the rotation on this one. It looks like very broad-based, but over Drakesboro right now. We're going to have to watch this one very carefully. We also have another warning out here for Christian and Todd County until 5:30. Look at all the lightning with this storm really firing up at this point between, well, right over Hopkinsville, moving towards Elkton, Lewisburg getting it, Russellville, Auburn. You'd be up next for this. Do have a storm tracker on this one for you, and it will be in Lewisburg at about 5:35, Russellville 5:45, Dennis at about 5:57. A lot of hail with this one, at least an inch in diameter, right over Fairview, Hopkinsville, headed towards Elkton next. So if you have a car, you might want to pull it into the garage because that hail can really do a lot of damage. Also watching for very strong winds. We look for bright greens and bright reds, and we'll say that wind gusts are definitely in excess of at least 60 miles an hour. There's also a flash flood warning out for this area until 7:30 because rainfall rates have been in excess of 1 to 3 inches an hour, and an aerial flooded warning also for that area. And we're watching one more flash flood warning out to the west over parts of Clinton, Cumberland, and Monroe counties. We'll have the hour-by-hour timeline for the rest of the night. That's all coming up.
You have a busy afternoon. Thank you, Danielle. Thursday afternoon, time now for a team traffic alert.
Linda Ong is monitoring your Thursday commute. And Linda, there's an issue north of town.
Yeah, this is along Briley Parkway going eastbound at I-65. This is a live look at the area. There was a crash earlier tonight, so a little bit of slow and go traffic in those eastbound lanes. It should have cleared by now, but we are still seeing the scenes out there and eastbound traffic still affected, so heads up there. Then in West Nashville, there is a breakdown at I-440 westbound. At I-40, that junction there, the shoulder is currently blocked to traffic. Clearing time around 5:40, so we still have about a half hour to go. So let your folks know if that is part of their commute. And other than that, we have just some minor crashes on secondary roads and just slow and go traffic out of downtown along the interstates.
Thank you, Linda. We do continue to follow that breaking news alert as law enforcement agencies search for Stephen Wiggins.
We're live at the scene, and we'll have an update coming up next.